What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can...
Mike Gundy will get fired this year. Fish, I want to start off with you. You redshirting or are you transferring?
Oh man, this is hard. This is a really hard one. Mike Gundy has a $25.8 million buyout. You know, which we were going through the buyouts earlier.
We're back to the buyouts.
Yeah, he said like $14 million earlier. I'm like, yeah, I know there's been a coach that's been paid much more. But Mike Gundy's been kind of on the fall, I guess you could say. But at the same time, not really. He's paid $7.5 million a year. He's the most highest paid coach in the Big 12. This is true.
Yeah.
So like I said, his contract is to where he makes $7.5 million a year. Every year until 2026, he makes an extra $125K per year. It goes up. The contract does, which is not much money compared to the $7.5 billion or million, but that's besides the point. He's 156 and 75 all time at Oklahoma State since 05. He's got 7 10-win seasons and 2 12-win seasons.
Yep.
Since 05.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question here is, does Oklahoma State, can they demand better and do they deserve better than a coach like this? Because Mike Gundy, like we talked about the recruiting last week, Oklahoma State doesn't bring in like elite recruiting classes. But Mike Gundy does a lot with them.
Always trash, bro. Their defenses are always salty. Like, I'm not saying like the whole Big 12 isn't like
again
like Baylor. Like
again
in the Big 12 are not good.
7 10-win seasons,
Bro.
2 12-win seasons.
I understand.
He is a good coach.
He is.
Now, last year, they were one of the best teams in the Big 12 until they fell apart. They fell apart halfway through the year, but they beat – didn't they beat or maybe Kansas State beat them 48-0. I forget, but somebody beat the dog snap out of them. But but look, man, they lose Spencer Sanders, but Oklahoma State's been a solid.
Oh yeah, Kansas State they put up.
They put up 40.
I think it was Kansas State.
It was.
Yeah, and after that, the whole team just gave up. I don't know what the deal is going on here.
I don't know if you guys remember that game, but Will Howard was going insane against him. He was going ballistic, bro. He was going.
I do remember that game.
He was going insane. Like he dang near had 300 yards, bro. He had like, I don't remember if it was 5 or 4 touchdowns, but he was going insane.
Yeah, I remember that too, because Oklahoma State was a good team all year, and then they lost, like they got dominated, and I said,
they literally got dominated by Kansas State, and then that just destroyed them from the inside.
I said, I ain't picking them one more time the rest of the season.
That game kind of took away their heart and pride from that 48. It took all the stuff. It just took all the life out of them.
I mean, what do you expect out of that defense? Like, it's not top notch. Like that's
it's not.
I mean, but you can't.
Bro, but it was though. They had Jim Knowles.
It's one thing to give up 48 points though, but it's one thing to fall apart just right after that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm a transfer. I don't think he will get fired this year because
I agree.
He's good through 2026, and I mean, again, like you were saying, Fishing, they were doing fine until that Kansas State whoop down. Beat the what? What is it? You said the dog snaps out of them? Is that what you said?
Dog snaps.
All right, can we get that on a shirt?
Hey, I didn't curse, so I'm proud of myself.
No, I know you didn't. I'm just asking. I'm asking a question.
Yeah, the dog snaps.
But I mean, they did. They were, they started off, Central Michigan 58-44, Arizona State win, AR Pine Bluff obviously a win. Baylor, they beat them. Texas Tech, they beat them.
TCU
took TCU to overtime and lost 40-43. Then beat Texas, who was ranked at the time.
We should have won. We should have won that game.
Yeah, and then the blowout happened of 48-0 against Kansas State, and from then Kansas lost. Iowa.
Are you telling me we had a 48 loss to Kansas State by Oklahoma State, and we had a 49-0 loss with Oklahoma and Texas? We had both of those happen in the same year?
Correct.
That's insane. I'm transferring. I don't think he'll get fired this year.
I agree.
Remember, he had Jim Knowles just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jim Knowles had that defense on point. So we talk about how bad that defense is. Their dominant defensive coordinator went to Ohio State. So it is what it is. at the end of the day, it's Mike Gundy's problem and his team and his responsibility. He's done this for so long. I think he can bring it back.
Yeah.
Listen, October 6th on a Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Everybody needs to circle that. That's against Kansas State. If they beat that, they'll be fine. If they lose, watch out.
Think about how long he's been there. Though. Like you said, like he's been there since.
I believe he's the third longest tenured coach there.
He was up there with Pat Fitzgerald. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the third longest tenured coach.
Yeah, there's no way I'm transferring on this one, bro.
Again, his contract's going till 2026. And he was doing fine, and then just the collapse happened. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what happened mid-season, but you are right. That collapse just happened.
That's right, Vic. Gundy has been the face of Oklahoma State, too.
Yep.
But we just saw what Pat Fitzgerald happened with Pat Fitzgerald, and I compared it to Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson was the same way. They've been the face of their program. But look, at some point, if a team wants to get rid of you, they're just going to get rid of you. And they did it to Gary Patterson, and it was kind of like, okay, whatever. They just wanted to move on. But then they did it to Pat Fitzgerald, and it was dirty. As far as we know. So I don't put it past any organization at this point if they want the coach gone.
I think his biggest flaw is recruiting defensive players. Like, what defensive player, like now in the NFL, do you see from Oklahoma State is really good, or just even average? Like, I don't see a lot of those Oklahoma State players defensively.
What you call it? What you could Kansas State? They were no more good after Kansas State beat the Shark to pussy.
And then Kansas beat them too. Kansas beat them too. Oklahoma beat them too. Oklahoma beat them. Kansas beat them. Like, bro, I can't believe I actually had Central Michigan beating Oklahoma State week 1. I can't believe that. I still can't believe I knew that.
It was all fine and dandy, and then Oklahoma State got the Sharktopus beat out of them. And it just went downhill from there, boys. They said it's over. They waved the white flag. They said we're done. But coach, we still got half the season. Nope, we're done.
Oh man. All right, so Sora, you transfer. I transfer.
Yeah, I believe we all transferred.
Yeah,
all of us. Manny too.
Yeah, I just don't see how Gundy gets fired.
Man, I don't know. I think it could be a surprise.
Unless
I still go with transfer, but I think it's very possible.
Like fishing, like I said, bro, he's been there since 05, bro. Unless he just sucks this year, there's no way he's getting fired.